Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. With your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Wednesday pre-market prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, and Dennis Dick with you this morning. I want everyone to know that I made the title of today's show, Buy the Dip Works Again, as an homage to JB Betts in the Benzinga.com chat yesterday during the show. He hypothesized, tomorrow's title will be Buy the Dip Works Again. You were right, JB Betts. You know why? Because Buy the Dip Works Again. It works all the time. So congratulations. You nailed it. Good for you. I made the show the title Buy the Dip Works Again as an homage to you. Well done, sir. Okay, we're going to talk about that, buy the dipping or buying the dip, I guess, in SPACs, in everything, really. We're going to talk crypto today with our first guest, Michael Sonnenshein. He's the CEO of Grayscale Investments. They are the firm behind GBTC, ETHC, and then a few other crypto trusts. We'll have a pair of guests on between 9 and 9:30 as well. Cannabis guests. The CEO of Skye, Bioscience, and the president of Tilt Holdings will be on at 9 and 9:15 respectively. So jam-packed show today. Hit that like button. Hit subscribe. Let's do this thing and throw it to Joel. Joel, how are we doing this morning in the pre-market trading session?
Good. Pumping. Powell, my boy, he does it again. We were looking in the trough, and Pumping Powell comes out, and we're up 14 and a half handles, knocking on the door 3,900. That's all I'm going to say. That's a big level. We have crude trading up 71 cents at 62.37. That's the highest level since last January. Gold, that's up a buck at 1807, trying to get away from 1800. Silver doing the 28 even battle. That's right where it's at. That's up 26 cents. Bitcoin takes out yesterday's low, but rebounds up $3,300 at 50. This is called 51,000. So that's a look at your futures markets. A lot of green on the screen. Triple D, that was a fun break yesterday. I don't know how long you stuck around for it, but boy, oh boy, it was that 10 o'clock turn. You know, we talk about market timing.
We talked about
10 o'clock turn.
Mm-hmm. It's a 2-day move. It was textbook. I didn't read this somewhere. I made it up. I call it the 2-day move. It's the Triple D 2-day move. And we talked about it. You get the follow through the next morning from a big sell-off, and we saw a big sell-off in a stock like Tesla, and that's why we were using it as the poster child for it. And usually the next day you'll get the follow-through move. It was a wicked 2-day move. But what we also said was the turn usually happens after the open. Get the initial flush, first 5-10 minute flush, and by 9:45 the buy the dippers start to emerge. And they emerged right on schedule. They kept buying all the way to 11 o'clock. Bought Tesla almost back to green, so it was down $90. Almost goes green, unbelievable, and then it sold off again. But then they started buying in the afternoon, and they ripped it higher. And then Kathy to the rescue. So, and obviously trading up substantially because we're giving major press to these Kathy buys. Even though Kathy has bought Tesla, it seems like every day for the last few days. We're publicizing the ones from last night, so that's why Tesla's up another, at least the market, or CNBC, they're talking about every 5 minutes, is publicizing. That's why Tesla's up another 32 points. So, anyways, right on schedule. The buy the dippers emerge once again. Congratulations to those who bought the dip.
Well, the one thing on the ARK Invest Tesla buy from yesterday is I haven't looked at previous days yet, but yesterday seemed to be a rather large purchase, right?
It wasn't really though.
Let's
go grab them. I don't have it in front of me.
Well,
either.
that's what I'm in the middle of doing.
It wasn't that much bigger than the previous day. Because I was like, really? Because she was interviewed on Bloomberg, right?
I guess you're right.
So go look at it. Go grab those numbers.
I just grabbed them. So ARK Invest bought 240,000 shares of Tesla yesterday.
How many the day before?
They bought 183,000 the day before. So
it wasn't that much bigger, and it didn't even get it. It was down. It was down significantly. Overall market effects there, but it wasn't publicized. And the reason it was up so much was because she was on a Bloomberg interview, and she said, I bought a lot of Tesla today. And as soon as she said that on the Bloomberg interview, this is way before the email comes out. Email's like 6:30. So, and it was late last night. People were already buying it up. They're like, oh, she bought a lot of Tesla today. And the stock ripped higher on just her comments in that Bloomberg interview. Really, she didn't buy much more than the day before. So she's been buying Tesla for a while. So it's fake news to a certain extent. I mean, it's real news, but they're publicizing something that she's been doing already. So, but the media has so much influence right now that when they publicize something or they talk about it, it's like the CNBC pop. You know, Bloomberg gets a pop, you know, and we're seeing this happen across the board. So you publicize that, like you emphasize it on TV multiple times. CNBC's probably mentioned it a dozen times in the last 12 hours. Because I've had it on there. It's mentioned every 30 minutes.
Wow,
it's going to continue
tolerance
to get pops.
for that. Holy mackerel! I can't.
Well, you got to watch it. You have to watch, CNBC because they move stocks. So, I mean, if you're like in a stock and you're like, what's going on? I don't have the news. The first thing I do is check, is somebody talking about it on CNBC? The way CNBC's influence has never been as much as it is right now. Like I was saying, I gave that example a couple weeks ago with the one analyst, I think it was from Jefferies or somebody. He upgrades the stock, and the stock goes up 5% that day. They bring him on for an interview that night. The stock goes up 20% on his interview. Well, we already knew he upgraded. We knew it all day. But because they're talking about it on CNBC, and there's so many people who don't want to pay for news. There's so many people who are just looking at CNBC. What's the next big trading idea? I mean, a lot of times CNBC gets me out of a bad position because I might trade the headline. It's like, oh, they don't like this. Well, you know what? Sometimes the stock will start going down. Then CNBC will mention it 5 or 10 minutes later because they're always way late, and then they'll get a CNBC pop to get you out of a bad position. So, I mean, if you're trading headlines and stuff, obviously you're going to be right, you're going to be wrong. But I tell you, CNBC is moving stocks more than I've ever seen. In 20 years trading off CNBC, it never moved stocks like this before.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about, because I did a tweet yesterday, and you ended up getting heat on it, which I apologize for. But and I'm not talking about immediately, but I just look at this Palantir, right? So it has the dip to 25, right?
Yeah.
And she buys, and the thing goes to 30, and it didn't fill the gap. That got under 24 yesterday.
Yeah.
So the first day maybe, not the second day. The big one was this Vuzi. This thing got to 24.40 the other day. And then it dipped under 16 yesterday. So a lot of it, of course, we're talking about timing, right? And if you're shorting it right away. But, I mean, eventually, and maybe not even shorting. Maybe if you have a juicy long, like if you were long that Vuzi, man, and that thing popped to 24, I don't know what your target is.
Yeah, the smaller company.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd be keeping. I didn't drill down on any numbers on Tesla today to see where the resistance is, but it'd be interesting to see. I mean, in a day or two, that was a big move off the low. Mr. Market helped, of course.
Yeah, well, Mr. Market helped out a lot. Just going back to the Kathy, and
sure.
You tweeted out, and I'll say it. I think the Kathy pops have been fades lately. They really have. And it's not Kathy's fault. I mean, think about you're buying Tesla today, and people are coming in there.
Not the
Kathy
same
bought
price.
it. I'm buying at $730. Tesla, she bought yesterday. Tesla trade down to $619. She's probably buying $630, $640, $650.
Scaling. Boom. 10,000.
She's buying 80 points lower than they're buying
10,000.
right now. She's buying 80 points lower than people are buying right now. So you're paying up 10% more than Kathy. You're buying into the Kathy pop. 4.5% this morning is all a Kathy pop. That's alpha on the short side right now. And you're right, Joel. Palantir, I thought it was overdone at 27, 28. It went to 30. I mean, it just got ridiculously overdone. Technical resistance all over the place at 30. It was a textbook short at $30. Again, like I said, I didn't think it would have that much gas to get up there. But, you're buying, she's coming and buying at 25, 26. Her followers are buying at 30. You're paying 10, 12% more in some of these cases. In the VUZI, you're paying 20% more than she is. Well, that's alpha. That's just, that's just, chasing money that it doesn't make any sense to a certain extent, because if you look now, if you're the first guy on there and you can get it at 19 or 20 the VUSI, maybe you're making some money, and it's trading up again because she bought more of it. But, it's up $2.50, up 13% because Kathy bought it last night. Well, she bought it the day before, too.
She bought it
It's not
60,
really new
yeah.
news. It's not really new news. So in my trading world, I think it's a short. I think, obviously markets go up, markets go down, so you got to do hedging factors and stuff. But I'll tell you, it's been scary to short Kathy stocks because of follow-through. There hasn't been that much follow-through lately. So there's been a play to short the pops. When they pop 15, 20%, it's just overdone. So not popping them, if they're popping 1, 2, 3%, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if her followers want to pay 20% more than she paid, they're probably paying too much, and there's probably some alpha to extract on the short side.
Nola Trader makes a good point. It's like the 13 Fs, right?
Same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
They pop up big time, and there's an opportunity on the short side, but the evil shorts. So here we go again. We shouldn't say that because we're evil if we short stocks. 400.
She did have some outflows, though. I did see that over the last couple days. 465 million. Someone may be ringing the register. I don't know how much total assets she has. Yeah. Come on. Some of these ARCs, these things are, you got to take a profit, sometime, right? So that's what you saw. But anyways.
Okay, I want to just say again, I'm a short-term trader. People think, oh, yeah, you're shorting this thing. I'm going to be covering Tesla. That's 900. Your advantage of being a smaller trader and not being a hedge fund is you can get in and out fairly quickly. You're the small guy. This is a huge edge for traders. The Reddit traders who are listening, Robinhood traders who are listening, the smaller traders who are listening, you have a huge edge over institutions because they move price. They're trying to get in and they're moving price and they're moving price. You can get in and out and in and out and in and out. You think I'm going to hold something 170 points against me on the short side? What are you, am I stupid? I've never lost that much unless it was I got taken over, in the case of Celgene where I'm short the stock gets taken over the next day. That's happened to me once or twice in my 21-year career where I've actually been short a stock and got taken over on me. So, you're talking like one in a couple million event that happens. It doesn't happen and I hold overnight. You're holding intraday, that's a very low probability. But when you're shorting stocks, it's about discipline. It's about having your levels. It's about, looking, okay, well, if I'm going in this on the short side, where am I going to get out? Where am I going to, take the heat? I'm not holding some 100 points against me. If you're holding stocks in the long side, short side, and your trading account 100 points against you, you're doing it way wrong. Risk management, discipline. Discipline. Usually I want immediate gratification. I usually wait until it starts to turn. I wait till Tesla, okay.
I was just going to mention that.
Yeah, it's still going up. I'm not sure Tesla yet. I have no position on it. But if it starts to look heavy after the open, it looks like, there could be some profit takers, so the market starts to roll over, I'll short it. I'm not scared. I'll short stocks. You have to. As a trader, you've got to be able to go both ways. And it's not evil. It's called price efficiency. That's what it's called. It's not betting against America. It's keeping prices in line. I've given this example on the ETFs
1,000 times, yeah.
1,000 times I've given this example. You have 500 stocks in the S&P 500 making up the SPY. If you don't have short selling it, the SPY price is going to deviate from the 500 stocks. It's arbitrage traders that keep that price efficient. I participate in that process. That's not evil. It's called market efficiency.
I think if I go back when I was evil and I used to short stocks, I can honestly say the best shorts I ever had is when I caught something when it was going down.
Always.
Yeah.
You don't fight the momentum. Oh, this is what, people, that don't know what they're doing are doing wrong. They're shorting stock. It's too high. I'm going to start shorting it now. I'm going to start shorting it down.
Nope.
Wait till it starts to look like it's petering out. It's called tape reading. These are skill sets that are developed over time by reading the tape. And you can feel it. Joel, you can feel it too. You've traded for so long. There's still a lot of skilled tape reading traders out there that make money on the short side and make money on the long side. They go both ways, but they feel the tape and they feel the difference. And as you get more screen time, you get a better feel that way. But, shorting stocks when they're going straight up is a recipe for disaster. You want the momentum on your side. When they start to turn, that's when there's an opportunity there. But I'm not, short everything, short America. Oh, I only make money on the short side. I go both ways. I've been long like crazy on this market.
Also, you have different methods for shorting. I mean, let's say analyst ratings or something. You have a built-in formula where what you think it's worth. Also, I don't know how much because you're not trading as much intraday, but when you're doing your opening orders and you want to short something like a big thick stock. If there's a $500,000, J&J is up $2. If there's a $500,000 at one, I'm just using examples.
I'll give you some great examples here, Joel. Right to your point here yesterday, I talked about the energy trade and potentially some of those stocks, value stocks yesterday, being a fade into the strong open. Did you see where some of those stocks opened yesterday? On a day the market was getting hammered, they're like, oh, we got to buy value. Well, I talked about it on the show. I said the trade could turn on that. I got short Chevron, CVX on the opening tick. The opening tick. Bring up the chart, Chevron from yesterday. I got short at $100, the opening tick. Bring it up.
Okay.
Look at the, so you got to go into an intraday. Can you see the opening candle? Do you see it on top left? Do you see the top left? Do you see the top left candle? I took zero heat on that trade. I got short $100 on that opening print. The thing was $99 in like a minute. Come right in, 98. I covered too soon, always, but 98. If I would have heard held for 10 minutes, I'd have made 3 points on that in 10 minutes because the thing went straight down. You got a day where they're selling stuff across the board and you're seeing stocks like Boeing, BA, gapping up. I mean, well, Chevron was just ridiculous, but there was a lot. I got short, like, I don't know how, a pile of stocks that got short on the open. A lot of value names because the money initially thought, oh, we got to buy these stocks. But it was such a weak day. It was predictable they were going to start probably selling everything.
Yeah.
That's why I said Viacom. Ring the register on that one. Viacom opened at the opening tick high, 67. It was 64 20 minutes later. There's opportunities on the short side, too. You got to be able to go both ways. If you're going to do this as a professional, if you want to do this for a living, I'm going to tell you, very hard to just make money always on the long side because you're going to get into these runs where you get into a 2007 to a 2009 where all the money was being made on the short side. Last 10 years, you can be a primary long-only trader and you're kicking ass and taking names. But in normalized markets, you are going to get periods of 6 months to a year and a half where longs are just not working. So you've got to be able to go both ways as a pro.
All right. Spencer, you still here?
Who, me? I'm still around. Hey, did anybody watch? I know Dennis did. Did anyone else watch Dave Portnoy versus Vlad on Twitter last night? Interesting video.
I did. I watched it too.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Trip?
Well, go to Spencer first.
Okay, go Spencer.
We kind of had the same thoughts. Me and Spencer were talking.
Yeah,
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna borrow a thought that I saw from somebody else on Twitter, which was. For better or worse, like Dave Portnoy doesn't have like the technical knowledge to make it to have made it the most useful conversation. That being said, though, Dave definitely got Vlad, whatever he said, got Vlad to explain it a little bit better, right? He explained it a little bit better, like the mechanics behind what Robinhood had to do and why they had to do it. Vlad, they sort of went around in circles a lot where Dave was like, why didn't you just also restrict selling? And Vlad didn't really give a good answer. And then Dave asked it again. And they just, this circle went around a few times. And if Vlad had just said, hey, if we restricted selling, people would have sued us. I feel like that would have gotten Dave off his back a little bit.
Well, I don't understand. I don't understand the point he was making. You were making that point in the pre-market show. Like Dave Portnoy was saying, well, why? If you would have just stopped the selling, none of this would have happened. Well, Robinhood doesn't, like you were saying, Robinhood doesn't control the stock.
Right.
The exchanges control the stock. Not all the volume is going through Robinhood. I mean, you've got Webull. Retail's only 23% of the market, 24% of the market.
Right, but
so
Vlad,
I'm not shut down. But
Vlad didn't say that. If all Vlad had to say was, hey, what happens if Robinhood restricts selling and then nobody else does? Then we're screwed, right?
It's poor communication, really.
Yeah, that's all you had to say.
He knows his stuff. He's just not communicating it well enough to the audience. Now, Portnoy, I don't understand what point he was trying to make. I hope he doesn't think that Robinhood controls the entire market because it's not the case.
I don't think he thinks that.
It's not even close to the case. I mean, and if you decide, okay, just don't allow them to sell. Could you imagine? GameStop's at $350 and you're not allowed to sell the stock you bought yesterday.
That's a much bigger problem than not being able to.
That's a much bigger problem. That's evil. I mean, then and then you watch the stock fall and you're not allowing people to get out. How does that work? So that makes no sense at all. And you know what? I did watch it. I think Vlad did a pretty good job, but again, he doesn't communicate it, like you said, well enough that, he's not making those points.
Yeah.
So I think GameStop was going down either way, and I've made this point before too. We had, some information come out from Citadel Executions showing retail trades coming during that week of GameStop,
right,
the week
selling.
that it went from 200 to 300 to 480. And what you could see in those trades is that the retail flow was fairly evenly balanced. And what does that mean? It means there was kind of equal buys and equal sells. So it's telling me that retail actually wasn't the driver to take the stock from 200 to 480. Retail probably was the driver to take them from 40 to 50 to 60 and maybe even to 100. But there was other participants that took over after that. There was algo action. Me and Joel were looking at it. There was a lot of algorithmic action after that. It was hedge funds trading in there like crazy. Probably some prop.
Oh man, bing, 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 buying a bid, selling the offer, bam, 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 bam.
It wasn't controlled by retail. The retail didn't drive it to 480. There was other participants in there. Retail may have helped, but again, when the flows are even, if you got kind of equal number of buys, equal number of sells, it's going to kind of be the recipe for the stock not to go really anywhere. So there's got to be net, active buyers that are going to probably bring it higher than that. So that's just my thought process. And obviously we don't know who's on the side of each trade. Maybe it was all buys in the morning, maybe it was all sells in the afternoon. But I mean, there was other players in there. So I don't think, limiting Robinhood buys did anything to really crater the stock. So I completely disagree.
Okay. Can I just say one thing? The reason I didn't watch it is because it's why? Why do you think?
You were watching a Michigan volleyball match
on the Big Ten Network? No, I just think it's old news.
Okay.
We've been talking about it for what? I feel that's we've been. I mean, I think anybody on Wall Street who's broken this down and talked about it, the analytics. So I kind of think it's it's old news. I'm talking to the market structure expert king of the world with the SEC. I mean, it's so for me, I just feel like it's old news. That's why I didn't leave.
All right, let's move on here. There's a bunch of news to discuss. Right, we could talk Workhorse, we could talk Fisker, we could talk earnings. J&J just had a headline. So many directions to go here. Let's just. I
think we should do the Workhorse.
Yeah, let's start with yesterday, and then we'll work towards today. So Workhorse, that news was out at 3:00 Eastern time yesterday. They did not get the U.S. Postal Service contract. It went to Oshkosh, which is of course based in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Ticker OSK. So Workhorse fell 55% in like a half hour yesterday, from 3 to 3:30, somewhere around there.
We knew this was a binary event that was eventually going to happen. We just didn't know the direction.
We didn't know when.
We didn't know the timing and we didn't know the direction, but we knew if they got the contract, the stock was going to explode. If they didn't get the contract, the stock was going to implode. We had talked about this. We haven't talked about it lately, but we talked about this a lot on the show. And that's why I just wanted to stay away, because I didn't know the timing. I don't want to get caught on the wrong side. If they don't get the contract, obviously that's the fall. Is the fall overdone? I don't know. I thought it would fall 50%, so it kind of fell what I thought it would fall. When it got down to $12 yesterday, is there still an opportunity to buy the dip on a stock like this? Maybe, but it's a big, now you got a lot of bag holders in here. I don't think it just bounces right back, but I don't know. If you were holding for 32, 33, it's selling at 14, I don't know.
Boy, oh boy. I can't use my overalls joke again because I used that on the afternoon show. I used to have the white and the blue jean overalls. You flip it down and you clip it up on the side.
Nice.
But did you do any research on this? Did you know that Oshkosh and who else was in the running? Because I'm really disappointed in myself, because that's a big company, that's been around for a long time. So it's not an obvious Adam kind of thing, but
you're saying they had a better shot.
I mean, I didn't even research it. I didn't do anything. I didn't know about it. So if you do your homework, I mean, that would have been a nice little flyer there. I mean, stock at all-time high, great-looking trend compared to Workhorse. But that stock, wow, 117.58. Oh, the top. Wow, someone got really excited this morning. Holy mackerel.
They still are.
Oh, that was after hours.
Yeah,
Holy
they
mackerel.
still are excited.
Oh, keep
People
an eye
get
on
excited
120.
on news.
Wow,
Any
this is
news, they get excited.
regeneration of things. Wow, that is weird. Anyways, 120 was yesterday's high.
And then where you want to take us?
Fisker this morning. They got a deal with a subsidiary of Foxconn to support a project to develop a quote breakthrough electric vehicle. No terms of the deal were disclosed. This PR hit the tape at what time? I lost my press releases. PR hit the tape at 7:02 this morning.
What a nice opportunity yesterday. I wish I would have said this one on the show. I've already got it. So I didn't think of it.
Filled the gap
pulling
too
right
yesterday.
back into that 15, 16.
Yeah.
I think Fisker, I still think like this is going to, we already know like this isn't concepts anymore. They've already got the deal with Magna to go and produce these cars. Now, yes, it's not going to be till 2023 or 2024 where we're actually going to start. I don't know the actual, but I know it's still a year or two out. But they've got, the assembly. Magna's going to, make these cars for Fisker. These cars are going to start being on the road. I gotta think they eventually, and the cars are pretty cool cars too. And that Fisker guy is smart, man. So this is, a very obviously, Tesla's all about Tesla. But I mean, you're looking at the market cap on this thing. Where is it? $3 billion. When I bought it, it was $3 billion. Let me just go see.
Is it?
It's a lottery ticket that eventually this might be a major EV player, and that's why I'm long it. I'm long Fisker. I'm staying long it because I think this could be a major player in EV sooner than later. Even $5 billion it's worth up here. So I think I bought it was about $3.5 billion. So I must have bought it lower than that. But
no, you did. I remember you talking about this thing forever, and it was around 15,
I've been in it
16.
forever. I think I might even bought it at 13 or 14. I bought this thing a long time ago. So
Doesn't
I've been in it
Raz
forever,
know the guy that is behind this? Didn't he
Henrik
talk
Fisker?
about that? And he's a local guy in Rochester or something, Spencer?
Is
or
Henrik?
what?
Is he Michigan?
Am I mixing stories up?
Yeah, that's Sandy. That's a different person.
But does he have something to do with Fisker, or is that a different stock?
I can't say for sure.
Ask Raz, because maybe we can try and get him on. That would be.
I'd love to have Fisker on. If
Yeah,
we get Fisker.
I
We
don't know.
should.
All
We
right.
should try to reach out to Fisker. I think he would come on. He's in the media every once in a while. He's tweeting. I bet you he would come on.
All right, let it be known. I'm writing it down.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna try to get Henrik Fisker on just to talk. I like the story. I like the story. This is still speculative capital, but I think they're gonna be. I think they could be a major EV player. And is it absurd to think that they could get a $10 billion, $15 billion market cap eventually? I don't think so. I mean, not in this market. There's been a lot of companies that just conceptual having a bigger market cap than that. This is like they got cars and they're going to start seeing them on the roads eventually. So I like the story.
All right, S&P's backed off. We got the intraday high. We have the Globex high. We have a lot up there at 3,900. We just hit it. Big rebound yesterday. I think that's really important to get through that 3,900 today. We're about 12 and a half handles away.
All right, 8:28. We're going to have our first guest, Michael Sonnenshein, is the CEO of Grayscale, on in about 7 or so minutes. There's a bunch of questions from the chat that I want to get to. One question. This is a good one. I got to go scroll up and find it now because chat. All right, it's from Walgreens Coupon Deals. Guess you like your coupons in chat. There we go. He or she likes technicals, but when a catalyst comes into the picture, how do you balance both? How do you balance technicals and a news catalyst? We've talked about this before.
So the catalyst is going to determine the direction. When there's a new event, when there's an event happening, this is why, if you're just looking at a chart and holding through earnings, it's hard. So once the news comes out, then it'll give you the technicals you can look at to the level of where it might go on that news. You can see so it's not going to give you the direction. So when you have a catalyst, it could go either way. So you can't worry, you can't look at the chart really, prior and say, if you've got an earnings event coming up like last night, I wouldn't be holding in, Jemiah into the earnings. But, we'll just do this as an example. But because Jemiah reports earnings, I don't want to hold it through because I don't know the direction. I don't know if it's going to be good or I don't know if it's going to be bad. But when they buy it up, it's like, okay, well, now I can look at the chart and I can say, and this is a hard chart to look at, I could say if this got anywhere near 60, I would probably be a seller because that's where you broke down from originally. So that's how I'm using the chart now after the fact jack. So looking, at the catalyst, okay, now it's giving me the direction. Where could this go? What kind of, gas could this have in the tank? So I'm looking at potential, and looking at how much a stock can move on that news. I know you do the same, Joel. When you have major news, you try to look at, okay,
Yeah,
where could this thing go?
I mean, I'm a little bit, older man and slower, so I'm not as like chasing things like this. But I just never even bright when you trade. I mean, if I'm chasing more, I'm not a chaser. Like if I see a headline or something, and I feel like I could get it at a reasonable price, yeah. But I'd be more like, wow, I'm long ABC, and this news just came out, and everyone's going crazy. Where would the fade be? So I think that would be. I'm just not as skilled as you are, and you're also, you're trading like during the day. You're like the algos are going to smoke you. After hours, you still have some algos, but they're not. Yeah, they're not as aggressive. So that's kind of where Dennis has his edge.
They're dumber.
Yeah.
A lot of dumb ones.
They overdo it.
They overdo it. And that's like the Palantir was a great example too. If you have your ducks in a row, Kathy Pop, well, where is it top out? Same day, same place, 30.44, 30.19. So that $30 level has just been big.
It took another day.
It took another day. It took 2 days to really get there, but it gives you, that level where, so you're looking at, Catalyst, okay, Kathy's bought it. Where could this go? I didn't think I had the gas to get to 30, but if it got up there, I said it would be a good shorting opportunity. It did turn out to be the case. So, I mean, that's what you got to look at.
The way I looked at that is you have to remember, it did come down off earnings. So that's fundamental information. That's where the street treated it after earnings. And when it got up there on Thursday, I was thinking, is this going to fill the gap? That was kind of what I was hoping for. I was hoping for a little less risk, get up there and fill the gap. It tried to short, but there was just too much resistance there at 30. So I hope that answered your question.
It's kind of
Sandy Monroe, that's who it is.
Yes.
He invested.
Yes.
Yep. Try and get him on.
Raz knows him, so
thank you, Michael.
Go through Raz. Okay, we did get some breaking news.
What
during the show? Oh, no, it was way too quiet.
Yeah, I told you to turn that up yesterday.
Wait, let me turn it louder. Hold on, that was not acceptable. I don't know how to turn my volume louder. Let's try that. All right. That might be copyrighted, by the way. I'm not.
Is that from NBC?
You think?
Spencer's brilliant.
You think?
Johnson & Johnson. FDA analysis of their vaccine showed it's highly effective, and talked about the efficacy against new strains. So in South Africa, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine showed an efficacy of 73%. An increase in efficacy from 73% to 81%. And so just a lot of data out this morning about the J&J vaccine candidate, and it all looks good.
So here's you got an example. You've got a move.
I knew you were going to do this.
Yeah, this is a perfect example to again go to our last question. So you've got a move. So where do you look first? I would first look, learning it from Joel Elconin, yesterday's high. 63.19. If it gets through there, then you see all those levels at 165 kind of jumps out at you. So that's the next logical level. So that's how we're using technical on a headline. So it gets up to 163. Yesterday's high, 163.19, peters out, which it already did in the pre-market. That is concerning. That means that's a significant level where it might struggle to get through. And 165 would be the level after that. So using technicals off the headline.
If Triple D was watching this, I would have probably. I don't know if you would have been quick enough to look at yesterday's high, but I would have taken about 163. It's a whole number. It traded down, made a double bottom yesterday. Hey, let's put some orders out there at 163. But you wouldn't have thrown an order out there at 163. You might have went, okay, it went up to 160. Oh, almost 163.50, and then it came back down through 163. So then you would have maybe struck then when it came. Instead of
fighting the momentum.
Yep, throwing it out there. We got Mr. Sonnenshein in the queue yet?
Yeah, he's here. He's in the background. I want to give him another minute or so to get settled, but we're going to have him on. Before we go to Michael, though, I just want to do a programming note. Said this yesterday. We're doing the same thing again today, where we're doing different streams for every show. So I'll be on. This stream will be on until 9:30. At 9:30, we're going to hop off and switch over to the Get Technical stream, which we will link to in the chat. It's also on youtube.com/Benzinga. So at 9:30, there's no reason to watch this stream anymore. It's going to end, and then you'll have to hop over to get technical to keep watching Benzinga's content. So just putting that out there. We're trying it. We got some good feedback yesterday. We're improving. We're going to see how it goes, but we're trying it at the very least for this week. Also on a programming note, tomorrow and Friday, PreMarket Prep will be the only live programming on our YouTube channel due to the Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference. So after PreMarket Prep ends tomorrow and Friday, we're going to pivot to the Cannabis Conference all day. And
Not at the close? No at the close on Thursday and
No
Friday?
at the close Thursday and Friday. It's going to be just PreMarket Prep, straight to Cannabis Capital Conference all day for Thursday and Friday. Just programming note there. Okay.
Let's talk about one more thing, now for that show with Neil. Do you guys have like a song or something to start it out?
We have an intro video, yeah.
Because instead of I got a song for you.
You lay it on me.
Let's get technical.
Let's get technical.
Okay.
Technical.
You remember that song?
All right.
No one's gonna like that.
That also might be copyrighted.
I know. Well, that's a problem.
All right.
We're still on material here.
Let's bring on our guest. Michael Sonnenshein is the CEO of Grayscale Investments. Michael, good morning.
Good morning.
First, I want to congratulate you. Last we spoke, you were merely a managing director at Grayscale, and now you're the CEO.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations.
Very honored and humbled to be in the role.
So let's just first talk about the overall crypto market domination in 2021 compared to other asset classes. Last couple of days notwithstanding, what do you make of the run that Bitcoin's had this year so far?
I'm candidly not surprised. I mean, when I think about what 2020 was, it was a watershed moment for the asset class as a whole. You know, at Grayscale, we brought in over, $5.7 billion last year. We saw some of the world's most famous and experienced investors publicly come out in support of the asset class. We saw corporates beginning to allocate to Bitcoin on their balance sheets. And when you think about what some of those, major moments like that are, and the fact that they had never happened before, it definitely created quite a bit of tailwinds for additional participation. And I think we're seeing a lot of that momentum continue into 2021, and actually maybe is building on 2020's momentum.
So you're not surprised. All right.
Yeah, not surprised.
I guess that's fair. Well, what about not just Bitcoin? Like, what about the entire crypto market? Because it's not just Bitcoin that's been on fire.
Well, I would certainly say that there is a general appreciation now amongst the investment community that crypto as an asset class is here to stay, that it is in fact an asset class, and that does mean that it is in fact more than just Bitcoin. So we are seeing investors increasingly diversify their crypto exposure, looking at areas like Ethereum, the emergence of DeFi, other altcoins, and really seeing that there are in fact some benefits to having some diversified exposure within their crypto holdings.
I had a couple questions, Michael. Just looking, obviously, you're structured. First, do you see a Bitcoin ETF eventually getting approved here? Obviously, your Grayscale is one of the only ways. If you're looking at investing, it's not that easy. Do you think eventually? I know we're seeing in Canada, we saw ETFs get approved here now. Do you think eventually an ETF is going to get approved in the U.S.?
I do think it eventually will get approved. I think what we're seeing now is, an increasingly mature market. This rally in the price appreciation that we've seen in the asset class does in fact look very different than what we experienced in 2017. The market is much more two-sided. We've seen the launch of derivatives, a lot more players in the market, and so it is really beginning to mature. So here in the US, it'll be a matter of when, not so much a matter of if. And the addition of new products or new ability for investors to gain exposure to this asset class, we view generally as a good thing, and almost kind of creates this normalizing or normalization of crypto, if you will.
Is that something you guys would participate in then, is launching an ETF if you had the ability to do that?
I certainly wouldn't rule it out. I mean, I think the important thing to note for those, listening to this is that investors aren't waiting for an ETF, right? That's probably the most important aspect of this. Investors are not sitting on the sidelines and not getting involved in crypto because there isn't an ETF yet. And we're seeing, ever more participation in the market across everything from retail investors all the way to the other end of the spectrum, endowments and pensions, and now even corporates.
So Michael, what is the impact of crypto or Bitcoin ETFs on Grayscale products?
Well, I think it's going to open up the products to potentially an even wider audience. I think, as you guys know, our two largest products, our Grayscale Bitcoin Trust and Grayscale Ethereum Trust, became SEC reporting companies. And that certainly provided some additional air cover for investors to participate, because SEC reporting means that investors get to enjoy the same protections and disclosure obligations that they get when they invest in other public companies or ETFs or other investment instruments or access products. And so I think that certainly broadened the group of investors that felt that this was now actionable for them. And so I would venture to guess that the approval of an ETF would widen the actionability of this to an even wider audience of investors.
I'm just taking that question further, because in Canada, what we just saw happen was QBTC, which was not an ETF, but obviously investing in Bitcoin. I don't know if you're familiar with the product or not, but once they approved an ETF in Canada, what we saw was QBTC was trading at a substantial premium because there wasn't a lot of ways to get into Bitcoin. What happened was they approved a couple, they've got a couple ETFs now in Canada, Bitcoin ETFs. What we saw was that premium came out immediately out of QBTC because you've got the creation redemption aspects of an ETF. Are you concerned at all that that could happen? And is there any way that, because obviously GBTC trades at a premium over the markets, or over the NAV. Are you concerned that premium could come out? And is there any way for you to roll that over into an ETF if you had that opportunity?
There's certainly the ability to roll it into an ETF. I think ultimately the price at which these products trade is really driven by the market.
Yes.
And is really a function of sentiment and participation. But perhaps I'd venture to guess that there still is not enough supply of shares to meet the ever-growing demand. And we're seeing that in a variety of Grayscale products. One being our large cap fund, which trades under the symbol GDLC, Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund. And going back to your guys' point about diversification and is this an asset class beyond Bitcoin, we've seen a lot of uptake for the Digital Large Cap Fund because investors have increasingly been saying, I want exposure to this asset class. I can't pick winners. I can't pick, avoid losers. But if I can make one investment and get broad-based exposure, that would be a really attractive investment opportunity for me. So I think you're going to see more of that kind of broad-based allocation, although certainly no shortage of investors only wanting to invest in Bitcoin as well.
We're on the line with Michael Sonnenshein. He's the CEO of Grayscale Investors, joining us here again on Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. The first time was in December of 2018. I don't know if you remember that, but thank you so much for coming on all these times. Two questions for you here. I'll throw it to you one at a time. There was a little Fed speak yesterday about the U.S. perhaps going to a digital currency. What do you think the chances of that happening, and what kind of impact do you think that will have on Bitcoin?
Well, so I think we have to remember that any digitization of the U.S. dollar, which today is already quite digital, if that eventually moves to a tokenized version or resides on a blockchain, it'll still look and feel and be materially different than something like Bitcoin, because it'll still have its policies, rates, printing, retracting, et cetera, all dictated by a government and by policymakers, which is a very, very different system than what we see in the decentralized nature of Bitcoin itself. So I would say that the U.S., as are many other countries around the world, exploring the development of central bank digital currencies and other projects to tokenize or digitize their fiat systems.
Do you see this as, right now it's a store of value, but really for it do you ever see it becoming mainstream? Like right now, if you want to go buy a candy bar or something, I mean, is there ever going to be? I mean, what point of that? I mean, right now it's hype. Everyone's just buying it because there's a limited amount of holding it. But to me, in order to be a real currency, I mean, to have value, do you see that happening? And also, if that's going to happen, how are you going to base it? It's such a volatile instrument. Like, let's say I wanted to go buy a Tesla right now, and I wanted to buy it in Bitcoin. Okay, well, I'm looking at the futures around 49,500. Do you do an immediate transfer of something like that? Or I say I buy it now, and I'll say, I'll pay in a couple days, and then the price drops. I mean, just to me, there's a lot of things to be worked out for it to become mainstream.
Yeah, I think this is one of the things that we really try and encourage people to avoid getting hung up on. The near-term use case for digital assets like Bitcoin is as a store of value, as a digital gold, as a digital inflation hedge. A lot of kind of the historical roles that gold has maybe played in investors' portfolios. If people are kind of stuck on this idea that Bitcoin is somehow failing because they're not buying a latte with it, or they're not running around spending, their day-to-day living their lives using Bitcoin, and that somehow means it's failed, they're really overlooking the opportunity here. That's not to say that Bitcoin can't or won't at some point in the future be used as a more transactional currency or be able to be used to move value around the world. But certainly in the near term, we're not advocating for or seeing that being the use case of how Bitcoin is being adopted and kind of growing in terms of its user base and folks who are investing in it.
Michael, can you explain why the Grayscale products don't trade on exchanges?
Yeah, so the Grayscale products trade, on the OTC market here in the U.S., which is where many ADRs trade. Companies like Roche, Adidas, Volkswagen, et cetera. And so in the absence of being able to register as a bona fide ETF, they are not trading on national securities exchanges like the NYSE or the NASDAQ. And so the path that we have pursued to provide liquidity is out on the OTC market. And that's just really a function of regulatory approval.
And also getting a product to market faster, right?
Certainly, yeah. It's certainly a marketplace that has become very, very robust. And when you look at some of the trading volumes that you see in some of these products, they really are starting to butt up against some of the more and most liquid access products out there on the market.
Michael, I'm sorry, Joel, go ahead.
I just want to know how he came up with the name Grayscale.
I'm sure he didn't come up with it.
Well,
it is a long story.
Well, we like long stories.
We love stories.
Okay, it's okay.
But happy to come on again and tell you guys more about Grayscale.
That's too long of a story.
Sorry, guys. I didn't know. Someone in the chat asked. All right.
It's a fair question.
All right.
We'll get it next time.
You guys can get it next time. That's a good reason to have me back to chat with you guys.
Michael Sonnenshein is the CEO of Grayscale Investments, the provider of various cryptocurrency securities. Michael, as always, a pleasure. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, guys. Stay safe. Take care.
All right.
Thanks, Michael.
All right. I guess that was too long of a story.
Sorry, I guess.
I go tell long stories all the time.
Yeah.
That's like the beginning of the show. What's going on in the market, guys?
Leaking a little
Come on now.
Well, they'll buy the dip
right.
again, Joel. That's just what they do.
What's going on? Someone tell me what is going on. I don't have CNBC on. I'm not looking at it. We dropped 20 handles. That's significant. There's something going on. Someone said something bad somewhere about something.
Joel's like, what's up?
I'm being serious here. There's something out there. Do we
There's
have
a lot of volatility right now?
Wow.
I mean, this market has had a lot of volatility.
Look at this. Give me an uptick here. Holy moly. What's mid-range on this session? We're getting near there. I have to go to my other charts for that. Boom.
We're leaking. It's almost time to cancel all my orders.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're leaking a little bit here. It's been a pretty significant sell-off here in the last 20 minutes, so I'm not sure the catalyst. Again, we're very volatile right now. So, when you see the markets tanking as much as they did yesterday, it's not a straight-up ride back and all the volatility's gone all of a sudden. There's still people spooked from yesterday. I lightened up some positions yesterday just because I was spooked. Not into the fall, but actually into the rally, and I was tweeting about it afterwards. You had a wicked rally. Back, an hour later that we talked about. And, even towards the end of the day. And I had a lot of SPACs. And a lot of those SPACs were completely under attack. And I was getting hammered. So, when we rallied up, and a lot of these SPACs, actually, some of them came back to the positive. Some went green.
Wow,
I used that opportunity to just lighten up a little bit because I realized my SPAC exposure was maybe a little bit too much. Overall, market exposure wasn't bad, but I had too many SPACs. So I did lighten some of them up. And into the rally, into the closing rally as well.
I don't know why you sell, Dennis. I really don't. Ever.
Man, we just
don't sell. You know what? It's the wrong move every time.
Okay,
Seems like the wrong move.
We should cover some earnings.
I buy and sell a lot. This is what I do.
Yeah.
I buy and sell. Sell, buy, sell short, buy, sell. I do it a lot.
Can
That's how I make my living.
Can we do some earnings? Because we haven't covered any earnings, and there were a bunch yesterday and
Go.
today. All right, so let's just start with because it was mentioned in the chat just now. Jemiah reported earnings this morning. Earnings per share 62-cent loss versus a 47-cent loss estimate. Revenue of 49.7 versus $50.8 million. So they came in below estimates on both EPS and sales. Joel, pull up that Jemiah chart. Let's take a look.
Okay. All right. Let's look at Jemiah here.
I'm seeing a different screen up for you. I'm seeing your.
I'm sorry.
Your other window.
I gotta get rid of that. I can't show that screen. Here we go.
There we go.
Oh yeah, boy. Thanks, Spencer.
Yeah.
Man, this one. At the same time, Gene told me to buy LTHM. He mentioned this one at $5. I kind of wish I would have bought that one.
I bought it at 13 originally.
Yeah.
I bought Jemiah at 13.
Yeah,
I
you
bought
sold
it
it
after Andrew left. Andrew left was saying this could be a $100 stock.
Yeah, he likes it.
And it ran to like 18, 19, and it pulled back to 13 eventually on that. That's when I bought it. But again, you know me, selling way too soon. I sold some at 25. I sold some at 30. I sold the last of at 38. I'm not see going to 68. So
yeah, boy.
I never stick around. I like to take the first bites. I don't like to eat the whole meat or the whole thing.
Okay. This one, I know it's not perfect here, but you had
somebody hammering it right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's somebody trying to get short right now. This is a good opportunity. I don't know if you can show, but because the tick rule's in there, because it fell more than 10% yesterday.
Oh yeah,
there's actually somebody
it's been a
trying
while.
to get short the stock.
It's been a while since we explained that, so explain that.
So when a stock falls more than 10%, the alternative uptick rule applies for that day and the next day. So right now, JMIA is under the alternative uptick rule, and he just got done, 49.10, so all the way down. He just took it down $1.50 to try to get done on that. But you can see it's a short because it's moving down with the offer. They can't hit the bid, so it's moving down. If you put your order out there to sell short at 49, it's under the uptick rule. They'll put it at 49, right above the best bid price. So if it's best bid's 49.02. Even though your order is 49, they'll be out there 49.03. So it was chasing it down, so that's why you could tell it was a shorter. It was 20,000 shares to sell it short. It just got down to 49.10 though, so they just took down $1.50 on that. So sorry, I jumped in because it was a cool.
No, that's
opportunity
okay.
To tell you about the tape.
Talk market structure. Just hanging out mid-range on the session here, folks. A little bounce there, 38.74. I was going to say, there's some overhead supply here, right? Because you came down hard. Someone wanted out ahead of the report. So now you got people stuck. So I was going to look to sell a bounce in this. You already got a pop at 52.50. I don't know if you're going to get another shot at that. What's your two-day high? Ooh, boy, your two-day high is way up to 54.30. What's yesterday? You're above yesterday's high. I guess you can $9 range. I guess. Ooh. Let's look at the high from yesterday.
Technicals are hard right now.
Yeah, wow. This is
because
tough.
You got such wild ranges.
If it holds 49, it has a chance to go back up. Back under 49, you're going to go down, but you're not going to get close to yesterday's low of 41.52. So that and a wooden nickel will help you out on that one.
Here's a question, though, Joel. Do you think we eventually test the lows, the 945 lows on all these stocks eventually? I can obviously not right now.
No,
but do you think eventually you go back to test those? Like that was a washout, flush, capitulation. We can see that because we've bounced. Easy in hindsight, you can say that. Are we going to do some? We're just going to do some back and fill in where there's going to be so many people who think they missed the bottom that they're going to be coming in way before that. I tend to think the latter, that you're just going to back and fill and probably not.
Yeah, I was just going to say that because I was thinking last night about where I was going to place some orders, overnight, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to get anywhere near 0475. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? So it's hard, and you cleared out a lot of numbers below there. So it's going to be a back and fill kind of thing, unless you get some kind of news event. So it's going to, you may get back down there, but it's going to be tough sledding. You're going to see this kind of action. So that's a big number. The fact that you went 90 points off it, now everyone's scratching their head and like, I missed buying the dip again. I got to get out there. I got to get a hold, ahead of that 0475. So that's the way I'm looking at it. Right now, it doesn't look like it. Tomorrow night or tonight, we open up down 50 handles. Then you got a good number. But I agree with the back and fill on that one.
Let's do Square quickly. Square
Sure.
had earnings last night. Let me bring up that banner. Adjusted EPS 32 cents versus 24 cents. Sales 3.16 versus 3.09 billion dollars. More importantly, though, they said they bought $170 million worth of Bitcoin. That's approximately 3,300 Bitcoins last quarter.
Wow. I mean, I don't know why all these companies want to continue to come in. I guess because they think they're going
we're
to
still
transact
going
with
down.
it eventually. Maybe they think they're going to transact with it eventually. But, Tesla, Square, people investing in Bitcoin as companies. I mean, I think you should be running your company, not worrying about investing in Bitcoin. But that's just my thoughts.
It's a balance. It's a diversifier. It's a balance sheet.
Yeah, but why do you even have cash like that on your balance sheet? You should be investing. Why do you?
They are
investing in. What's that?
They are investing. They're literally investing. That's what they're doing.
Square is?
Yeah,
no,
they're
I know,
investing.
but why are they doing that? I'm not investing in Tesla to invest in Bitcoin. I'm investing in Tesla so that they use their money to go and make and produce cars or solar. Or
Dennis, are you getting
change
hit
the
on any
world.
bids here? Are you getting hit on any bids yet?
Yeah, not really. No, I canceled a lot of it when we started imploding there. Joel's just caught up with the markets here. I just say yesterday's low. It's a big level for it. 232.
It's gonna be hard,
I
yeah.
don't think you're going to get down there, but it is down $10. It gets anywhere near yesterday's low, you probably find buyers. So it's always traders is if-then scenarios. I'm always like
Correct.
setting it up. Setting up a trading plan. If Square, I'm not saying it's going there. I'm saying if it was to go there, I would probably try to buy it at the 232, 233 level as a trade. Because I would think that low would hold. Coming in at 244 in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be looking for yesterday's low here in this one. Down $12. Rallied back yesterday. Everyone got caught up in it. I don't know. Messy chart here.
TLT is getting hammered, man.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
That's it. Someone
We're getting hammered.
Oh, wow.
It's down another $2.30. You're seeing banks lift because of that, obviously. TLT has been in this relentless downtrend. Every day just lower, and here feels a little bit like, whoa, this is a big, sell here too. But I mean,
wow,
they are hammering the TLT right now.
We're almost back at the March low.
On the
139, yeah.
Yeah.
139.
You're seeing that 20-year obviously on the TLT, 1.65%. But I mean, you just think about it, why in the hell you want to invest get 1.65%? I mean, people think interest rates may be going negative, and that's why you do it. I don't know if they're going negative, so they may end up starting to pop up here. I mean, if we start losing it and inflation starts coming, you got to think rates could start going higher. So I think TLT.
Yeah, I think people are reevaluating what Pump and Powell said yesterday.
They're hammering TLT.
Yeah,
That's good for the banks.
This is
Banks
free fall.
banks are liking
Free falling now. You know who sings that?
We all know that.
We all know who sings that. So.
Nobody knows who sings that, Joel. Next.
All right.
No one knows the ABC World News Tonight song, but we all know that Tom Petty sings "Free Fall." Okay,
It's a good song, though.
8:59. Got a minute or so left before I'm going to bring on our guest. You want to do like Upwork real fast because they.
Jason must be Rochambeauing all over the office, huh?
I think he's driving in right now. I think he's in his car.
Okay.
Give him an Upwork price. He wants
Jason, if you're driving, please
give him a price.
Two hands on the wheel, Jason. Please.
No, he's
get
got
2
a
hands on the
Tesla.
wheel when you tell this price because he's going to be really excited.
61.21.
It's up $10, Jason. Hold the car on the road, though. We know you're excited. Hold the car on the road with your
Tesla.
excitement.
He doesn't.
Up
He's
$10.
Not even, he's
Oh
in
yeah,
the
you don't have
back
to touch
seat.
the wheel. He doesn't have to touch the wheel. This every 30 seconds, you got to just tap it.
It got Jason. It got to 64.50, dude. Put a little nibble out there at 64. I don't think you're gonna get it, but that's it. It hit 64.50.
Jason doesn't sell. He'll sell at 100.
It's just holding
Jason,
in here.
Jason does sell.
Yesterday, or the former all-time high, I'll use that as support, 60.44. That's what you want to stay above.
Jeez, dear Lord. All right, man, chat is funny. Okay.
We are ripping on these Bitcoin stocks here, too, this morning. I bought more Bitcoin. That's one thing I did buy on the dip of 46,000. I went into some of those ETFs.
Oh, so it's okay for you to buy Bitcoin, but not Square to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, because I'm an investor. Right. Tesla is supposed to be making cars and solar panels, not investing in Bitcoin. So, sorry. But anyways, they got absolutely hammered yesterday. Riot Blockchain hammered, Mara hammered. There's a nice snapback rally in some of these stocks today. I think obviously, people learn the hard way that these are leverage plays. We've obviously talked about this. If Bitcoin goes to turn, these are going to fall a lot harder, and they did. It's a nice snapback rally here today. I feel like that's kind of all it is. Can Mara fill the gap up to 36.60? Maybe. I'd probably be a seller there, though. So I think, rallies to be sold in these stocks here now because there's a lot of people that are hammered. So if you're coming in buying Mara up 12% today, I feel like you're on the wrong side of the trade. But, these things are wild, so anything happen.
All right. It is 9:01, guys. I want to bring on our next guest. I've been mentioning it for a couple of days. I'm going to mention it again. The Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference, a 2-day virtual event tomorrow and Friday. We thought we'd bring on a couple companies that are going to be there ahead of the event to preview it and talk about the companies, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to bring on our guest now. First of two here, Punit Dhillon is the president, CEO, and chair at Skye Bioscience, company formerly known as Emerald Bioscience. Punit, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me, Spencer.
So you'll be, when I say you, I mean your company will be presenting, I believe, tomorrow morning. I think, if memory serves correctly, tomorrow morning. You're doing an investor presentation. Tell us a little bit, without giving away the entire thing. Tell us a little bit about Skye, what you're working on, and why.
Yeah, thanks. We're going to looking forward to your the presentation at the conference. So at a macro level, we're focusing on developing these proprietary kind of new class of molecules. They're designed to treat a whole variety of unmet medical needs. They're bioengineered. They're synthetic cannabinoid derivatives, and we're looking to really improve the therapeutic benefits in different applications. We've chosen one direct application that we're going into the clinic this year. That's in glaucoma. There's a huge unmet need in glaucoma. But just to be abundantly clear, we're doing the pharmaceutical side of this. So it's not walking into your corner store, not corner store, but the retail cannabis shop and picking up some product. This is specialized in terms of seeing how you can modify a therapeutic benefit and really drive value in particular indications.
So what are the applications here? Like what diseases are we talking about?
Yeah, so right now we've taken a approach in terms of our lead program being in glaucoma. It affects about 80 million people worldwide. It's one of the leading causes of irreversible blindness. There's a huge unmet need there because most of the current therapies don't work very well. Most people have heard of anecdotes of how cannabis actually can work in glaucoma, but the science behind this has been based on showing that THC, the active molecule, has been able to lower intraocular pressure, which is the key kind of measurement here in terms of improving glaucoma patients. So the challenges with traditional approaches with cannabis has been, it's poorly bioavailable. There's this other kind of associated challenges in terms of systemic delivery or adverse effects. The most obvious one being the psychoactive kind of effect you would get from smoking cannabis. The improvement here that we make is by delivering a proprietary molecule that's engineered in a way that makes it bioavailable, delivered directly to the eye, and then is able to improve intraocular pressure, and we've shown that in a bunch of different studies to date.
What is your timeline on potential trial results or timeline for approval?
Yeah, so this year is a pivotal year for the company. We since I've taken over, it's been approximately 6 months. We've built the team up from the ground up, and we're really focused on driving value. There's three particular milestones slated for the first half of the year that are all preclinical kind of enabling studies before we get into human studies in the second half of this year. So we have an ongoing intraocular pressure study that we're doing in animals. We're also doing a neuroprotection studies. The cannabinoid cannabinoids have been shown to be able to protect that optic nerve in the eye or other optic nerve cells in the eye. So this is important in terms of differentiation of this molecule compared to other approaches in glaucoma. And then we have the other kind of GLP tox, which is an important IND enabling study. But the key thing is getting into humans. We're going to be doing our phase 1 trial. It's focused on assessing safety and tolerability. It's interestingly, it's one of the key safety assessments. We'll be looking at changes in intraocular pressure in healthy patients, but we also are looking at a small subset of patients that have glaucoma or elevated IOP. So we're excited about really taking that next step.
Are there other potential use cases, or are you just solely focused on glaucoma right now?
No, so that's the thing. It's like this is really meant to kind of drive a wedge in the door here for a larger opportunity. I think we have another molecule. I've been talking, so far about our lead molecule, which is focused on THC. We have another molecule that's called CBD VHS, which is also proprietary. And our early studies have shown, it has ability to be analgesic, anti-inflammatory, anti-fibrotic. There's already a very good case there in terms of showing the anti kind of seizure capabilities of CBD. I think you guys have been following the acquisition of GW Pharma by Jazz Pharmaceuticals.
That was big news. That was big news.
So that was huge validation for the space. First time a CBD drug gets approved. First time a CBD drug has been approved by the FDA, and then now it's really expanding the Jazz pipeline with that merger. So I think there's a lot to be done in the cannabinoid space. We're really just touching the surface at this point, touching the kind of early part of the iceberg. We have quite a bit to do, and I'm really excited about what this company can do. I don't know I think we spoke about this before, but I came from the cancer immunotherapy space. I ran a company.
Tell us about that. I was reading about that yesterday.
Yeah, like I ran a company for a better part of 10 years and was associated with a technology for about 20 years. I worked at Inovio, and then I founded this company called Oncosec Medical. When I started Oncosec, there was only one cancer immunotherapy approved in terms of a new class of drugs. And it's very much like that in terms of the cannabinoid space. So far, there's very few drugs approved. GW stands out in terms of really being the pioneer, but there's a lot that can be transformed here in terms of understanding the receptor network and the endocannabinoid system, what these molecules can do in terms of a wide variety of different therapeutic applications. Just like you saw in the cancer immunotherapy space, in 10 years, you saw a complete shift. Like now, majority of cancers are being treated with immunotherapy.
GW is the only one, right? That has FDA approval, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And Skye trades on the OTC markets, right?
Correct. Yeah, we're trading on OTCQB under the symbol SKYE.
Okay. So as I mentioned at the top, we're on with Punit Dhillon, President CEO of Skye Bioscience. They'll be presenting at our virtual cannabis capital conference on Thursday. Let me see here. It looks like 10:40 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday is their investor presentation, one of many throughout the day. Punit, Dhillon, thanks a lot for the time today. Anything else you want people to know about the company before we go?
No, I think this year, keep track of us in terms of every single milestone that we're focusing on achieving is helping to build that confidence in terms of the execution of this company and the outcome that we're expecting in the clinical trial. Like I said, it's a pivotal year in terms of it changing this company from a preclinical company to becoming a clinical company. So we're excited about continuing to keep investors apprised, and we hope investors have a chance to participate.
All right, thanks a lot, Pete. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, I want to, before I bring on our next guest, I just want to show you all just the slate of companies presenting, public companies that are presenting at our conference for the next couple of days. So I made a watch list in Benzinga Pro. Look at all these stocks, all these cannabis stocks, publicly traded, that are presenting over the next 2 days at the Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference, Thursday and Friday. You can go to benzingaevents.com. Actually, you know what? I'll put a link in chat. There's a specific link I was instructed to give y'all. Let's put that up right now. There it is. bzcannabis.com/virtual. Put in chat as well. There you go, everyone. Just a ton. And here's the schedule, right? I mean, just like 2 whole days of just endless programming, right? Talking dozens of executives, public companies, not all public, some private companies too. Names like Canopy Growth, names like Curaleaf, and our next guest as well, who I'll bring on in a moment. Names like Trulieve, names that you know, right? Companies that you know. 2 whole days. The link is up on the screen. bzcannabis.com/virtual. We put on like 2 or 3 of these events a year, maybe 3 or 4. I don't know the exact number. But I mean, the reason we're preempting our normal program is because these events take literally months to plan, right? Like our events team has been working on this since last year, right? Since the fall. So these events take a lot of time, a lot of effort to put together, and we're very excited for it. That's why we're preempting the rest of our stuff the next 2 days. Pre-market prep notwithstanding, everything else is going to be either recorded or won't air live or won't air at all for the next 2 days. So I want to bring on our next guest here, Gary Santo. He is the president of Tilt Holdings. You may know that one. TLLTF is the ticker for Tilt. Let me bring Gary on now. Gary, how are you doing? Oh, I think Gary froze. We lost Gary. All right, we will get Gary back here in a second. We had him and we lost him. But again, Gary Santo is the president of Tilt Holdings. Put the ticker up on the screen right now. And we'll get Gary back in just a moment. All right, so we've stopped going down, guys, in the overall market. We've stopped going down for now. I've got the S&Ps up on my screen, which I guess says something. I don't know what it says, but a weird morning so far. Let me get that banner off. Yeah, we've bounced at Brent Slava's behest to put up a 1-minute chart of the S&Ps, and we can even pull up SPY too. But I'm looking at a 1-minute chart of the S&P 500 futures. So we've bounced off that like 3863 area, 3864 area. We bounced off there. We're kind of hovering now around 3870. So bit of a drop there for a few minutes, but for the moment we've stalled. All right, I think Gary's back. I'm going to get Gary here. Gary Santo again, the president of Tilt Holdings. Gary, we have you. Good morning. How we doing?
Good morning. Sorry about that.
Nah, I had you. I lost you, and I got you back. It's all good. It's all good.
Hopefully the connection works. Cross your fingers.
Cross your fingers are crossed. Okay, Tilt Holdings is presenting. You're also presenting on Thursday, I believe. You're doing a one-on-one chat at 11 o'clock Eastern time. Tell us about Tilt. Tell us about what you're working on.
Yeah, so Tilt is a multi-state operator, a little different than most of the ones you've probably heard about or will be presenting at the conference. We're a company that went public back in 2018, went through a couple little fits and starts like a lot of cannabis companies do, and really just starting to hit our stride in terms of what our overall strategy looks like. And it's as recent as 6 months ago where really this company thought it was going to be more technology and software focused. But ultimately, as much as those are interesting segments of the market, I think the technology side is strong with our inhalation devices, and I'll talk a little more about that in a second. But on the software and services side, it's just so fragmented. It was a part of our business that really wasn't really heading towards profitability. So last November, we took a pivot and decided to sell that business off and lean into our really strong plant touching assets that for quite some time had gone virtually ignored. So now we sit in Massachusetts and Pennsylvania, soon to be Ohio, where we have cannabis operations, both cultivation, manufacturing. We do have some retail, and I think that's what makes us a little different. We're not looking to be the retail player. We're not looking to build out our own specific brands or really talk about sales per square foot. We're trying to do more of a B2B angle. So if you're a brand, if you're a brand and you'd like to come east of the Mississippi, we have a distribution platform in Pennsylvania that will get you into 95% of the stores there. If you're in Massachusetts, probably about 50-60% of the stores we sell into right now. We have a very robust wholesale platform. And in Ohio, we're just getting started. We're about to take ownership of an entity that we had funded the build out of, and we're just waiting for final regulatory approval. So it's kind of taking a page, honestly, out of what we're doing with our inhalation device. I mean, Jupiter Research is our inhalation device manufacturer and research and development arm. So we partner with a firm in China, Smoore, for the actual production of our devices, but they're designed here in Arizona. And they're your typical high viscosity vaporization cartridges, as you might imagine. A lot of different kinds of technology out there, though, that we're excited about trying to bring to the market in the months and years ahead. So that business was built on being B2B, premium product, partners with about 700 brands, which includes MSOs and LPs, as you might imagine. And really is the behind the scenes customer, behind the scenes provider. So if you think about Cura Select, those are Jupiter pens at the end of the day, behind that very strong brand that's throughout the country. So the issue you have there is because we don't own the manufacturing, the margins there are nice, say mid-20s gross margins and high teens on the EBITDA side. Very strong business, I think over 130, 140 million plus total revenue. But we looked at the plant touching and said, how could we possibly do the same thing with plant touching where we actually own the manufacturing, we own the entire supply chain? And that's when we really came up with the idea of this B2B strategy. And we're in early days. About 20% of our revenue comes from what I would say are cross-sell opportunities, where we have a Jupiter customer on the hardware side who's also one of our plant touching customers. That's when it's really working well.
So B2B, I don't know if I've heard of too many companies going that route, the B2B retail route.
It's different. I mean, you've heard it talked about as the picks and shovels and the Levi Strauss and all sorts of stuff. And
right.
This industry loves to try to find another industry to describe itself. For the while it was Apple stores. Now it's picks and shovels.
Yeah.
Amazon will probably find its way in there too at some point. But I think for us, if you look at the cannabis space and you look at the potential for legalization, I think you hear a lot of people say commoditization is going to come in. And most likely on the cultivation side. The big growers will step in, and that's probably true for a lot of the high yield plants. But for the specialty grow, the boutique style grow, I think there'll always be a place for that. If you look at the other side, though, and not a lot of folks talk about this, on the retail side, I think there's a chance that could get commoditized. COVID has had people buying online. That is where they like to shop these days. And all the bricks and mortar stores and the infrastructure that a lot of the other MSOs have had to put in place to build their own footprint and brand, I think could become issues down the road. Either they'll have to be mass consolidation or just trimming down to the herd. So for us, playing in that space in the middle, which is where we've been playing for the last 2 years, owning that specialty supply chain, the specialty grow, in terms of lab and kitchen facilities that are state of the art, we think that sustains. And I think the issue you have, if you believe that CPG is the future of the cannabis industry, and I do believe that, how do you get brands west of the Mississippi east? Right now, they can partner with an MSO, and the issue you have there is either you become purchased by the MSO, so you've lost your brand, or chances are that MSO wants to keep you exclusive, meaning that you'll only be sold in their stores. Now in California, that's probably fine where you have unlimited licenses, but in Massachusetts where you only get 3 stores, that's a pretty limited footprint. We're sort of the Switzerland in that department. You can come to us and we'll put you into the 50% of the stores that we sell to. We'll put you into the 95% that we sell into in Pennsylvania. We're not trying to buy the brand. We're looking to partner with brands. And I think that's a key differentiator.
CPG being consumer packaged goods. I don't know if I've ever spoken to anybody who's in the Ohio cannabis market. Can you explain why you're in the markets? You're in Massachusetts, obviously. That's one of maybe one of the more mature markets. Is that fair to say? But I don't know much about Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, Massachusetts is still growing. I think they introduced the adult use segment a few years back. They're still working on the rollout from that perspective. There continues to be some strong growth. Pennsylvania, everybody knows about Pennsylvania these days, and their move hopefully towards adult use at some point. Ohio is an interesting market because I think it's probably Pennsylvania from a year or so ago. It's a medical market right now. It's fairly restrictive along those lines. But if you look at the utilization rates, it's a pretty fast-growing market, and it's bordered on all sides by states that are either adult use or about to go adult use. So I think it's one of those areas, that Rust Belt area, that you're going to see folks start to adopt a little quicker. So it's early days for us. Like I said, we have a manufacturing facility there. We're waiting for regulatory approval to officially take ownership of that. But at the end of the day, do we think it could get to become a Pennsylvania? That might be a little bit of high praise, but certainly, we think it's a dynamic market, and we've seen other MSOs, frankly, in that market experiencing that same type of growth with the stores they've opened.
Gary, do you foresee federal legalization during the Biden administration?
I think there'll be something. I think the euphoria has to be tamped down a little bit. I mean, right after
that's no fun. Come on.
I mean, after the blue wave, it's, we're all going to trade on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ, and there'll be cannabis for all. And I think ultimately there's a lot of good pieces that they can put into place right away if they don't overreach. And that's probably my biggest concern. If they layer too much into the first bill that comes across, it'll never get bipartisan support. So the Safe Banking Act is probably the easy one, right? That's just give access to banking. I think doing something with 280E tax reform, that's going to have to be probably the next big one to cross the wire. But ultimately, if they wind up punting it to the states, like we would anticipate they would, even after it's legalized at the federal level, you'll then still have to break down what each of the states are doing. And there's certainly some states that see the tax revenue and the jobs, and they don't want to see those go away. So seeing how those states sort of manage how to keep the industry in state without having it go interstate, I think that will be an interesting challenge. But the great thing about it is through COVID, what cannabis proved was that it's durable, it's a needed industry, and it's one of the few industries coming out of the COVID pandemic that really doesn't need a hand up. It just really needs the government to get out of its way.
Let's talk about how did COVID impact your business? Because, we all saw the headlines. Every dispensary under the sun was reporting record sales, in May and June and July and even April, I guess. How did COVID impact your business?
Pretty much the same way. Now, because part of our business is with vaporization and inhalation devices, we were coming out of the vape crisis of late 2019. So we were just starting to see some normalization in January of 2020, and then we rolled right into a respiratory pandemic. I think what you saw, though, is even though vaping as a category was down slightly, it was almost point for point how far it was down. Smokable flower was up. So I think the consumer spoke loud and clear that inhalation is their preferred absorption method. And there's certainly a lot of reasons for that. So that was encouraging for us. So we saw a little bit of fits and starts on the vape side. We saw some of the stores and the retailers that we sell into were playing pretty close to the vest in terms of managing their inventory. They stocked up for a little bit, and then they sort of really played it tight because they didn't know what was going to happen for them as they all transitioned to curbside pickup and all sorts of things. But it showed to be resilient. I mean, certainly the store we have down in Massachusetts, we went to curbside pickup, and we've had a steady flow all the way through. And our orders really on the vaporization side towards the end of last year started to approach pre-COVID norms. So, I think it's an industry that weathered the storm. Obviously, it was in all 33 states declared a necessary industry. So, I think it showed its true mettle.
Gary Santo is president of Tilt Holdings. Gary, is there a big catalyst you want investors to know about, either for the industry or for Tilt this year?
I'll go a little selfish and talk tilt for a minute. I think a couple of things. For us, I think we're on the edge of getting our licensing squared away in Massachusetts. So right now we run a cultivation and manufacturing facility. It's approved for medical, and we also run a medical dispensary. But we have fully built out 2 other dispensaries nearby, and they're capable of doing both medical and adult use. So our hope is to get our licenses squared away in the months to come, so that this way we can open those stores and actually sweat those assets. And I think also continuing to build out on our brand strategy. So a few weeks ago, we announced, a partnership with Her Highness, which is a woman-owned brand, very high-end, which we think is a fantastic brand. They're New York-based, but right now they're out of California. That's their biggest, market that they're in, and we're trying to bring them east. So look for other brand announcements like that to come along the line. It's been fun, honestly, because it's been true partnerships. It's not just a licensing agreement, because everyone's figuring out that to take a brand from the west to the east, it's not quite as simple as just put your name on it and it's all done. So for us, it's making sure that the fidelity and the integrity of that brand stays tight. So keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for the Massachusetts regs. And I think those are the big ones for us.
All right, Gary Santo will be doing a one-on-one conversation. I believe it's tomorrow. Let me just.
Is it Thursday or Friday? I think
God.
It's Friday.
Oh, I hope you know more than me. It is the 26th. It is Friday. Okay, yeah, Friday morning. Yeah, there's so much content I can't keep it all straight. Friday morning at 11, Gary will be doing a one-on-one conversation at the Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference. There's the link up on the screen. I'll put it in chat as well. Whoops. Gary, thank you so much for the time. Looking forward to Friday.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
All right, I'm going to put that link up in chat. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, 9:26. So like I've been saying, we're trying this thing. We're doing different streams for every show. So in a couple minutes, I'm going to hop off and I'm going to hop on over to get technical with Neil Hamilton. We'll do some charts with Neil. The link to get technical is in chat. It's pinned. I'll put it again so y'all can see it, because I think people were having a hard time finding it yesterday, which is okay. So I just put it in chat again, that YouTube link that I just dropped in there. That is the link to get technical. You can also just go to Benzinga's YouTube channel, right? And you can see all the upcoming streams. Get technical is the one that starts next, right? So you get an hour of charts with Neil. We've got Benzinga Pro update. After that, we got SPAX Attack. We got Zinger Nation. Zinger Nation's got a really good guest. Actually, SPAX Attack and Zinger Nation both have really good guests on today. SPAX Attack is talking to the CEO of the company. The ticker is REE. If you know the SPAC space, you know that ticker. CEO will be on. It's REE Automotive. We'll be on SPAX Attack. Daniel Burrell will be on at 11 o'clock, somewhere in that window. SPAX Attack today. So a lot of content. And then Zinger Nation has Joe Prococo on. If you are a new trader, new investor, and you're looking for like investing platforms, Titan is Joe's platform. It's basically a sort of like, it's kind of like a robo-advisor in a way, but it's a robo that acts more like a hedge fund would. So check it out. He's been on PreMarket Prep before, Joe Prococo. So that'll be on like 1 o'clock on Power Hour. So got a good slate of guests today. Options Advantage at 2 o'clock with Mozzie. Biotech Buzz at 2:30. We're airing our first trade show at 3 o'clock. PreMarket Prep at the close at 3:30, and the Benzinga Pro Happy Hour at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So a lot of content, a lot to get to. Again, Get Technical is coming up next. In a moment, I am going to hop off the stream. I just want to say today's show is available as a podcast. It's available on all the major podcast platforms, Spotify, iTunes, Google, etc. Just search for Benzinga or PreMarket Prep on any of those platforms and you will find it. If you're listening to the show via podcast, please remember all the information and content from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes only and not for investing or trading advice. Very last ask I have for all of you, hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit share, do whatever, engage with us on social, on YouTube. We appreciate your commentary. We appreciate chat. Without the chat, the show would be like 2/3 less funny. Chat is, I think, what makes the show funny. You guys are freaking hilarious, and you say things that I don't want to repeat. Well, I want to repeat, but I would get in trouble for repeating. So thank you all for the comments, the engagement. As always, thanks to all our guests today, Gary, Punit, and Michael. And that's a wrap. So I'm going to put on some music. I'm going to hop out of here. I'm going to hop over to Get Technical. And we got an hour of charts with Neil. So I will see you there. What are you guys still doing here? 900 people. Get off the stream. Get over to Get Technical. Come on.
I'll help Spencer out here, guys. So
What are
we're
you guys-
moving over
what are you
to
guys doing?
Get Technical here, guys. So if you're not watching Get Technical, you're missing out
There's
right now.
nothing here for
Go
you.
over to the next link. For all you people that have us minimized and are watching this at your job, go ahead and switch on over. Sneak through the boss. Don't let the boss see you watching Get Technical, but I don't blame you. I would be watching it also, so definitely switch on over, guys.
There's
We'll put the
nothing
link in
here.
the chat here.
Link is
and
in. Link is
keep
in
it
chat.
rolling
Link
here.
is on YouTube.
Like
All right.
always, guys, we're going to keep going all day long. Shows will just keep going. So all you got to do is click the next link and you'll find our next show. Or you can always look at our homepage. Our homepage is going to have all the next live streams coming up there. So you can just click right on there, see the video. We'll see you at Get Technical, guys. Get on over. What the hell are you still doing here?
Why are you still here?
All right, guys. So if you're in here, you're just the last little bit of what I would call the stragglers. So strag on over to the Get Technical, guys. Strag on over, guys. You guys will see Get Technical. Link in the chat, guys. Don't stress it. Just move on over. I know if you're in here and you got us minimized right now and the boss is looking over your shoulder, don't stress it. Just wait for a second, click the link. If not, go to our homepage. You will find all the streams located right there on our home, right there on Benzinga's YouTube. So let's go ahead and move on over. I'm going to wait till we got about 500 viewers here. We still got about 600 people here, guys. So switch on over to Get Technical. Get some technical analysis from Neil as he breaks it down live as the market opens, guys. So you don't want to be missing that out. So get on over, guys, to Get Technical, guys, and we're going to be closing this stream down in about a minute or two. So if you're watching us and you got us minimized, get on over. We'll see you at Get Technical. All right, guys, if you're still here, we're at Get Technical, guys. We're at Get Technical. We're wrapping up right here, and we're going to call it a quits. So we'll see you next time, guys, on Pre-Market Prep. Always stay with us, guys, as we are the best pre-market show that you guys can stay with every single morning. Find out about your macro, your micro, whether that be talking about some Dennis Dick rants or getting into the overall market. Joe always helping us out with the charts. We'll see you next time, guys, on Pre-Market Prep, guys. Join the Neil. Get technical with Neil.